So welcome to another review. So a couple of days ago I purchased the H96 Max, and the reason was it came up on Banggood, I believe it was, and it was only 25 UK pounds, which is what, roughly about $32, something like that. But what really stood out is the fact that it had 4 GB of RAM. And it also featured a relatively new rocket processor as well. So I thought this could be quite interesting because you don't really see boxes with that sort of specifications all too often, especially with 64 GB of onboard storage. Normally they retail for a little bit more. Now that could be a good thing and that could be a really terrible thing at the same time. This could just be utterly hot garbage, it really could. So it comes in a pretty crappy packaging. There's really nothing special going on there. And we've got just the usual gubbins, very basic setup. We've just got power supply, remote control, a HDMI cable, and one of these really badly put together instruction manuals, although they have got a little bit better in terms of English over the years. So yeah, we'll put that to one side because that remote's going to be rubbish. I'm not going to bother with the HDMI. That power supply, it's very cheap, generic style one. Probably not the safest one to use. I do say these ones are a little bit dodgy every now and again. You see, in the UK, we do have some pretty strict electrical regulations, and these tend never to meet them. So I'll just use the power supply I have readily available that I know is really, really safe. So here is the H96 Max. The specifications are, it has the 3318 rocket processor, it has 4 GB of DDR3 RAM. That's really important because DDR3 is the older style of RAM, so it's slightly slower than the newer DDR4. So that's really important. Of course, it is a cheap box, so I wasn't really expecting DDR4 RAM in this device. It has 64 GB of onboard eMMC storage. Now that could be any number of things. It could be fast, it could be slow, it could be used onboard storage, it could have found its way into mobile phones at some point. The Chinese are very good at recycling that sort of stuff. So it does bring the cost down and it allows these manufacturers to sell these devices at these price points. Unfortunately, used NAND flash tends to cause all sorts of problems. We end up with boxes that become bricked, the Android fails to boot, and we end up with channels like the MXQ project explaining how to recover these sort of devices because they are very poor storage in them, and that's basically the gist of it. So anyway, let's take a look at this box. So let's peel this off. Very, very satisfying. It actually looks quite a nice design on the top of it. It's a mirror sort of finish as well. We've got some more tape just around the side of it. Get that off. So here we have nice design on the front. It's saying 4K Ultra HD. Maybe on the side here, I'm not sure if that'll come up on the camera properly, but we've got two USB ports, one of which is a USB 3 port. We've got a micro SD card slot as well. We've got the usual on the back with Ethernet port and HDMI, AV, and the power supply input. It's just a standard, very generic barrel style power supply input. 90% of TV boxes are shipped with this style. So if you've got one lying around and you don't trust this one, chances are it'll work just fine. So it's using just a generic case, really. It's just a cheap plastic case, nothing special going on here. You know, nothing really too spectacular. It's, to be fair, it's a cheap box, so it's just the way it is. It's actually sharing the same sort of case as this old AlphaWise box, from a good 2 years ago. This one was an interesting device. It's sharing the same back plastic, same basic shape, and yeah, it's essentially the same box here. That was a bit more expensive on that one. Anyway, so nothing too special going on, to be honest with you. It's just a generic TV box at the end of the day. I've not turned it on yet, so should we go and turn it on? Let's see what's going on as far as how the performance is going to be from this box. Let's go do that now. So as we turn it on, it's just a really simple launcher. We've seen these types of launchers many different times over the past few years. So we've got a really simple app tray at the bottom. We can set it up with all the apps we want. We've got YouTube app here, we've got the Play Store and a browser, as well as that the actual app drawer that we can go into and see all the pre-installed apps, which is just a basic set of what you'd expect on a TV box like this. So yeah, nothing too special, but what I expect from a TV box of this sort of caliber. Connecting to Wi-Fi was pretty easy, as well as that it has the ability to connect not only to 2.4G, it has the ability to connect to 5G as well. And as we can see here, we've got the two Wi-Fi availabilities to connect to. The system itself is running Android 9 Pie, and we can see in the actual hardware setup just exactly what is in this box. So we've got the Rockchip 3328, however it is stated on the actual packaging it is the 3318. Now let's not confuse those two processors because they are essentially the same. The 3328 is just the 3318 bigger brother. The 3318 was released as a stripped down version of the 3328. That's why it's kind of reporting that it has the Rockchip 3228, but they are essentially the same processor. It's just a slightly cheaper version with the 3318. We have 4GB of RAM, and as well as that we have our stated 64GB of internal storage. The Play Store, of course, comes pre-installed, and it actually works just fine. When I first loaded it up, it did actually crash, but I believe it was just trying to update in the background, which caused this issue. Overall, it works just fine. It's a little bit stuttery here and there, but nothing that I would be too concerned about when using it. So this box comes with a couple of applications pre-installed. Netflix and Amazon Prime and the YouTube 4K application. Now Netflix is limited to 480p. You're not going to be able to watch HD or anything. That's to be expected from this sort of device, and the same goes for the Amazon Prime application. You can use them, you're just not able to use HD Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. Now it does come with what seems to be a hacked version of the YouTube 4K Android TV app. It works beautifully. It actually works really quite well. It's not stuttering or causing any issues or errors or crashing or anything like that. So yeah, it works really well. Unfortunately, there's no telling how long it will continue to work, because these applications tend to stop working as Google find out about them. Basically, this is really not intended for this device, and it really shouldn't be able to work. So in about 6 months or something like that, you'll probably have to revert back just to using the standard YouTube application. But at the moment, it works fine, and we can watch YouTube in 4K. So staying with the theme of video playback, we have 2 test files here. Now this is basically the same story as every other TV box out there. This box cannot play 4K at 60 frames a second. This is the Big Buckle Bunny test file at 4K at 60 frames a second, and it's just struggling. It just can't play it back. However, if we revert down to 4K 30 frames a second, there's no issues at all. So it's the same story as every other TV box pretty much on the market. It is limited to that. Of course, there is other TV boxes out there that can handle it. Just these cheaper ones, these Chinese branded ones, just can't hack it. But that's just the way it is, and it runs perfectly fine as far as the media player is concerned. So we actually have Bluetooth enabled on this box, so I connected a Xbox One controller to see what sort of gameplay we can expect from this. So I loaded up Grand Theft Auto Vice City. This is the Android port of it, and it runs beautifully fine. There's no issues here at all, and I'm absolutely happy with it. However, if you do increase the graphical settings, it does seem to give the game a little bit of a stutter here and there. So I'd keep the settings maybe about midway, and you should be able to play the game no issues at all. So that's it for the review. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. Overall, this box is a cheap device. The hardware in it is not being tested. I mean, we're not 6 months, a year down the road. We don't know how it's going to continue to perform over a length of time. Again, like I said at the start of the video, the components in this could be cheap, they could be recycled, and that ultimately means we might have issues further down the line with this device. There really is no way to tell other than just to use it and see how it goes. Overall though, this seems to be a pretty decent device. Yes, it has 4GB of RAM, but don't expect any miracles from the extra large amount of RAM that you see in some of these boxes. It doesn't really make much difference other than the fact that you can open up large applications and a lot of them at the same time, and that's pretty much all the benefits that you're going to get from that. So overall, yeah, a nice box. If you want to check it out, I shall leave it in the link in the description. It's available on Banggood as well as GearBest, I believe. At the moment it's on a flash sale. I think it's only about 20 quid. You can certainly check it out, see if the flash sale is still going on. You might be watching this video months into the future, so who knows. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and we shall see you very soon.